Leaders. I really see Aalijah and Dante as leaders. Leaders that would have never been birthed had we not been here in this community doing the work that we do. Leaders that would have walked around these blocks and just went on their way. Dante Diggins. I love that kid, you know. Dante is a very soft-spoken, very quiet, very subtle type personality, and he was comfortable being in the shadows. And to see 5 years later, you know, the work that Dante is doing now, serving as a leader at the shelter, it is just mind-blowing.
I think the reason why I spend so much time helping people is because it's just the relationship that I've built with the people. I just fell in love with them and they just really connected me and brought me here. Through them I met the rest of the kids at shelter, just kind of know like their backstories, and I just built the connections. And seeing people in situations like that, it's not always their fault. Even if it's just watching movies with the kids, keeping them busy for 2 hours, I can tell that it gives them a sense of relief where they can just relax and sit down and have a moment to breathe.
Aalijah Fulton, also known as Fultron. If there's one thing I know the most about Aalijah is the biggest video gamer that I know. And this kid is just such a genius. And Aalijah grew up in a family of strong men, but Aalijah's brothers struggled. And I think Aalijah, being the youngest, also kind of was going down a path of just rage and anger. I remember in the history of Cryout, if there's one student that's called me out for a fight, that's Aalijah.
I didn't really have anybody to show me the ropes of school, so I was just learning everything on my own. So all throughout high school, I was, getting low grades and drugs, gang violence, and just, messing up a lot. But I eventually reached Cryout. It was just an after-school program. I would just come in, hang out, kick it, If kids would, they were running from the problems from home, if they would just want to find a safe place, because that's what it is still. It's a safe place for students. It's like Cryout, like they weren't neglecting at all. They would be very accepting of it, and like they would definitely steer us away from bad habits or bad behaviors to develop us as young adults.
The most important thing that Cryout does is providing community, providing a healthy community and being part of that community that develops these young people. You've heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And that's the reason why we're set up the way that we're set up.
There really aren't programs like Cryout. Like, I can't name another program that invites a bunch of high school students to come hang out. If they make music. If they dance, there's a full dance floor. Like, it just gives people a place to be themselves.
If I haven't discovered Cryout, to be honest with you, I'd probably be dead. I'd probably be in jail. Because Cryout was definitely an escape from my problems. It was like a peace temple in a way. That's where I discovered Christ. Because before then, my focus was on the streets. I was selling weed, I was selling drugs. My mom didn't even know about any of this because I was afraid to tell her, but when I would tell Celestine or anybody my problems, it's like, it always make me think and like, do I really want to do this? Should I do this? So without Cryout, I wouldn't be into music. I wouldn't be into Christ. It would have been a dark path for me. I wouldn't even know who I am or my passion. I wouldn't be positive, I can tell you that.
Cryout did show me that I like working with people, because before, if you would ask me if I like people, I'll tell you no. Even though every job I've worked at has been extremely customer service heavy, I just, would tell you I don't like people because I really didn't. But yeah, going through Cryout, it's really like opened my eyes as to, the needs of other people. You don't always know what someone's going through unless, you just really sit down and ask them. So yeah, Cryout has definitely helped me become a more people-friendly person.
I think it's important for people to invest into Cryout because this is your community. This is literally what makes up the future generations, And If you're not willing to develop in these kids, like who are you willing to develop in, you know? Because you're willing to develop into the future generation, like people that could be lawyers, doctors, they could be into IT, they could be into helping the community, start their own nonprofit organization. It's the small things that count.
There's a saying that I love so much, and I feel like that's kind of what we try to instill in these young people. And that saying went, when I was young, I tried to change the city. And when I was in my 50s, I tried to change my family. And when I started getting close to my deathbed, I started trying to change myself. And the saying then goes and says, how much more effective would it be if you started with changing yourself? And I think at Cryout, what we're trying to do is to help these young people have a confidence in themselves that makes them feel full and transformed and complete. So when they engage, they can really and truly change their families. They could truly change their communities, and they could change this whole city.